Hello friends, we are meeting after completing 3/4 of our portion. You have given unit test 1 as well as term and exam 1. It means that you have written 20 marks unit test and 40 marks full weightage board paper like paper of your school. You must have come to understand that how the history portion is asked in the question paper. Your teachers must have returned the checked papers, and you must have come to understand which areas you need to study better or maybe touch up again or need writing practice. Today, I wish to chat with you, talk with you, and maybe give certain tips, suggestions, or certain effective tricks to present in the question paper's answers. Because when we go to the exam, we are very much tense. Even though we know the answers well, we commit silly mistakes. So how to keep away those silly mistakes is the matter of concern in today's talk that I am going to do. So, easy? Yes. Let's look at our syllabus. In the syllabus, there are 4 chapters for history. Now, in these 4 chapters, 28 marks portion is covered. You know the paper pattern. And now I will be discussing question-wise paper answering tips. Question 1 is, complete the statements by choosing the appropriate alternatives from those in brackets. Marks are 3. And these marks are like the cash crop of your history paper. These marks really are very, very needed for every student. Why? Because only one word is there and alternatives are readily given. So out of these 3, one correct and nearest correct alternative has to be chosen. So let's take an example. Dash trade was one of the reasons for colonialism in Africa. Now what could be the options given? Options could be slave, ivory, wood. Now we all know the word slave is the key word. Now while writing, suppose if I go wrong in writing the spelling of the word slave, am I going to scratch, cancel or overwrite? No, my dears, you are neither doing it. What you are going to do is rewrite the whole line again and make the examiner sure that you mean to answer the word slave. If you doubt your answer, write the answer word in pencil and remember to change it in the ink at the time of checking your paper before the submission. There is no option for this question, so you have to answer all the 3 lines. Any textual line can be turned into a gap. And so, read the lessons as many times as possible. Another tip, that after each line, leave a line vacant. So that suppose if you go wrong, you can write the correct answer in that vacant line. Are we done with question 1A? Yes, sure. We are confident and 3 on 3 is the easiest target. Now let us switch over to question number 1B. 1B is the question for match the pairs of column A with column B. Marks 3. Now let's observe this question carefully. Column A has 3 items given in it. Column B has sometimes 4 or 5. What you are going to do? You're going to draw a box, then name the columns on the top as A and B. Column A items are 3. They do not change. So write one item, leave a line, write second item, leave a line, write third item, leave a line. Now on the opposite side, suppose first item in column A is H.M. Stanley. From the given options, what is the correct option? The continent. Second option is Jomo Kenyatta. So what is the correct option? Choose it and write it in B side, Kenya. What is the third column? Leopold II. So the correct answer to it is King of Belgium. Now many a times in a hurry, students write only the numbers of the correct answers. This is not allowed. Writing the question as given in the question paper and then making arrows like KG children do, even that is not appreciated by any examiner. So be careful and write your answers correctly. Let's say goodbye to question 1. 6 on 6 we've scored. All the best for that. Now let's go to question number 2. Question 2 takes into account the giving brief answer questions. Now, the word limit set up by the board is 25 to 30 words, and you are supposed to write 2 answers. 3 are given. Each answer carries 2 marks. Now, we need an apt and exact and to the point details in this answer. We have to avoid any unnecessary explanation. Neither should we change any factual details, or suppose if you don't remember any date, don't write that date or year, okay? Now my suggestions are, most of the answers fit in this expected word limit of 25-30 words. But suppose if 10-15 words increase, please do not care about it. Just write a complete answer. Now you have to write your answer in points always and give point numbers, because each point carries half a mark. See that you write all the important points, and less vital points can be taken care of later on. Remember to use important keywords in your answer and always underline them. Now let's take an example. How was the slave trade rooted out in the world? So then what are you going to write? These are the points you should take into account. Inhumanity, cruelty, injustice was dealt with those Negroes. Common people sympathized with Negroes. They helped the Negroes to escape. This will be the second point. Third point will be Martin Luther King started the movement. And so, laws were passed in US. This will be your fourth point. Slaves were released in the US. And the fifth point will be, even though Arabs continued it, they were stopped by the British in Nyasaland and in Uganda. This is a complete answer for question number 2. Now let us switch over to question number 3. Question number 3 is taking into account, give reasons for any 2 of the following in about 25 to 30 words each. Here children, you are supposed to write only in points. These answers take into account some historical background and a reason or 2 that gives rise to that historical event or effect. You must sit back for a minute and collect necessary details. Maybe skim and scan your details and then plan your answer. There should be a proper itinerary, because the reasoning is checked, that is put to the application. You are expected to write the cause and effect relationship understanding that you have developed during your readings. This answer might extend in word limit by 10 or 15, but do not worry. Care to write a complete answer, children. Let's take an example. Colonization gave rise to an intellectual change in many colonies. Now, here there is no need to write the definition of the word colonization, but you may say that, well, the natives closely watched the lifestyle and the thoughts and the philosophy and religion of the British officers or the rulers. They were acquainted with science, politics, literature, principles of liberty, equality and democracy very closely. There was a progressive mindset. Ignorance and blind belief were uprooted by the reformers like Fuller and others. At the same time, the British rulers introduced the education in English in India so as to make the babus available, the clerks available. But this indirectly even helped the natives to understand the broad-minded colonists' thinking and intellectual achievements and progress. This should be your model answer for this question. So children, please do remember to give all the details and not care much about the length of the answer. It might go to half the page of your A4 size answer paper, but please write a complete answer. Question number 4 is the question which takes into account the short note type question. Why do I call it as short note? Because the word limit set is 40 to 50 words and the mark weightage is 3. Total marks for this question are 6. Now, in this short note, you have to visualize the focus area that you are going to cover up. Divide your short note into 3 subtitles. For example, background, happening, conclusion, or introduction, and then the event itself, and conclusion or effects. And wherever necessary, in the subpoint also try and give the point numbers. Ignore the stipulated length for a while and you can extend your answer a little bit. Write the title of your short note in the center of your page and the number properly of your short note in the margin. This helps the examiner to check the short note, because many a times the short note topics are close to each other. Example, consequences of World War I is asked, and immediately you are asked about the effects of World War II. So then many a times students mix up these, and the examiner, if the number is not correctly written, can get misguided. Now let us take an example. Complications in Balkans is the short note topic. Now what should be the introduction? You may begin with the geographical situation of this typical area. It's an upside down pear-shaped area which windows down to Mediterraneans in the Eastern European part ruled by Turkey. This could be your introduction line. The natives of Balkans were fighting for a freedom struggle. Now why complications arose will be the actual gist of your answer. Now here you need to go systematically country-wise. The first country that you are going to write is of Russia. Why was Russia interested in Balkans? Because they claimed that Balkans were Slav by race and Russians were also Slav by race. So they tried to show their political interest so that the Russians would get an easy access to the Mediterranean and the trade in the eastern hemisphere of the world. Not only that, another country that was interested was Austria and Hungary. Why? Because the borders were touching, and Austria, due to its aggressive nationalistic policy, wanted to expand its kingdom and territory into the Balkans. Why was Germany interested? Because Germany is a landlocked country and it wanted an easy access to the Mediterranean. The fourth country, the fourth point, very important point in this answer you are going to write is that of Britain and France. Now, we all know that Britain and France have nice North Atlantic seashore, and they have an easy access to any navigatory or mariners facilities. But then why were they interested in Balkans? Because the British did not want the Russians' entry into the European politics. So to checkmate the Russians, they started taking interest in the Balkan area. Conclusion will be, the complications in Balkans became one of the major causes of World War I, since the Balkans declared their independence in the year 1908. This is how a complete desert dish you are going to present to your dear examiner, making him convinced that you have studied your history, not only historically, but taking help of geography as well. Now let us switch over to the last question, and that is question number 5 of our history paper, because this is the last 8 marks question. 20 marks worth we've already written. Question 5 is answer any two of the following in about 60 to 80 words. Each short note is of 4 marks. Now here you have to begin with the background of the topic and conclude with the effects in future. Do not forget to underline the names and the important leaders and the kings and the places and the ports, whichever area you think is important and you want to draw the attention of the dear examiner. While writing itself, if you start underlining, that helps a bit, so that while checking, if anything is left out, you can underline it later on. You should be ready with 1 or 2 extra details from the given topic, and here where comes in your study of even 8th standard history textbook. So dear friends, do flip over your 8th standard history textbook as far as certain short notes are concerned. Let's take an example. For example, effects of World War II. Now you will give introduction that World War II started in September 1939 and it ended in August 1945. For continuous 6 years, except USA, each continent, each country was affected physically due to the land, water and air level fight that continued. Now while writing, I would request you to turn the effects into 2 parts. One is bad effect and the other one is good effect. Under bad effect, you are going to cover loss of life and property. Here you are going to say that 1.5 crore of people lost their life and equal number of members were maimed and wounded due to the bombardment of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, on the spot 80,000 people died. All these three sub-points you'll be writing under this first point. Then the second point you're going to cover is that of financial effect. There was inflation, scarcity in commodity items, black marketeering started. In the world there were many diseases. So all these are the financial effects, be it a victor or vanquished. Both the types of nations suffered from economic backlog. Third bad effect is moral degradation. Man became selfish, money-minded. Money became God, dollar became God, and nuclear family system became one of the degradation causes of the whole mankind. The fourth and very important bad effect is Cold War. The isms, world was divided into two polar regions, and both the isms started to oversee each other. There were local wars, but actual big Third World War did not start. A strange relationship, tensions were there, but actual war did not start. It stopped with the division of USSR in 1990. Now let us talk about the good effects. End of imperialism. Germany, England, France, Japan, all these imperial powers, they lost their hold. It means what? They were not strong enough or capable enough or willing enough to rule in the colonial countries that they had established the colonies in. At the same time, all these countries were also fighting freedom struggle. And therefore, these freedom struggles were also intensified when the actual Second World War was going on. We know the example of our country, or we know the example of Indonesia, where Dr. Sukarno had also made a plea for the freedom of the country. And this all resulted into freedom of many Asian countries, to begin with India, followed by so many other Asian countries. Last but not the least, one of the important good effects was establishment of UNO on 24th of October 2013 today. So it was established in 1945. So this UNO tried to establish the world peace. Objectives were mainly establishing world peace and having cross-table negotiations and not the war. Whole world was very much worried about the annihilation of mankind because of the encroachment of atomic power. Thus, we have completed 28 marks of history. Now let us enter into the part of political science. Question 6. It takes into account the fill in the blank with suitable words from those given in the brackets. Now here, as question 1A and B, you have to take the precaution to choose the closest available alternative and write it correctly without any spelling mistake. No scratching, no cancellations, no overwriting. If you happen to overwrite, please rewrite that whole line again. If you doubt your answer, write it with a pencil, and this will enable you to finally write correct answer in the ink. There is no option for this answer. Any textual line can be turned into a gap, and so reading the lessons as many times as possible is very important in this question. Let's go to question number 7. Question 7 is answer any three of the following in one sentence each. Marks 3. So each question carries 1 mark. Here what is expected, friends, is to the point and exact term in the answer. A close and repeated reading of the course book is needed. Let's take an example. What becomes a crucial issue in a society of diversity? The answer is, in a society with diversity, different groups, parties aspire for power. So distribution of power among them becomes a crucial issue. Now here, which is the key word? Distribution of power. And if you try to substitute this word like portfolio, department, it cannot be accepted, though both these words are very closer to the shade of the given word. But you are expected to write the correct word. Let us take another example. What is federalism? Equal distribution of power between central and state government. Now here you are expected to give the example, and that is that of the USA. So here also you can score complete marks. Now let's go to question number 8. State whether true or false with reasons. You are expected to write any two out of the given 3 options. There are 2 parts of this answer. You are supposed to write the word true or false in capital letters separately in a separate line, visibly and legibly. No overwriting here. I mean, later on if you change from false to true, that tells dear examiner that you are in 2 minds and are confused totally about your answer. So try to show your confidence by writing only once the correct answer. Now what is the second part? Because for writing true and false, whatever it is, you will get half a mark. Now remaining 1.5 mark is in part number 2. What is part number 2? It contains the reason, your understanding and the application with the given examples wherever available. This answer tests your practical understanding and the contents of the text. So let us try to find out an example how to answer this typical question. Let's take, what is the statement? China always had communist government. Now in the answer what am I going to write? T-R-U-E. Full stop. I go to the next line. In China, elections are regularly held. The conditions in respect of free and fair elections are not conducive. Second point, only those members who belong to Communist Party are allowed to contest the elections. The third point, this may be called as formal democracy, but in such countries, actual people's representatives are not allowed to contest the elections. Fourth point, so real power does not rest in the hands of the real representatives. This is how this typical question is very, very easy to write, though it might sound a bit clumsy. Here, what I would request you all to do is plan your answer, collect the necessary details, and then only start writing. Now let's go to the next question, and that is question number 9. Answer any of the questions in 25 to 30 words. Now here there are 2 options given. Out of 2 you are supposed to choose 1. Now this is again a brief short note type question. To look at it is looking like a 2 marks question which we wrote in question number 2 or 3. But here again 5 to 6 points are expected. Both type of short notes are expected. Informative also or maybe analytical. Under informative short note, you can be asked information about any political party, for example, MNC or Congress, so on and so forth. And under analytical point, you may be asked, why is that the people do not participate in politics on their own? Or another question that one can think about is, why is there less participation by the people in Indian democracy? Now here while writing this answer, you are expected to give all the details. Let me tell you how you are going to write this answer. First you are going to say that in Greece at Athens in 5th or 6th century, there was direct democracy existing. People directly voted for any policy matters, but widows, women, aliens, slaves were not allowed to vote. So the number of voters that voted were very limited at that time. Today, what is the question? So then in the second point you will write that in India today, even though there is representative indirect democracy and people elect their representatives, the number of the voters is very large. Each and every citizen is allowed to vote. And due to the large number, taking the vote of each citizen for every issue is pretty difficult. The distance between the administrative government and the citizen is quite big. And therefore, it becomes difficult for any citizen to directly take part in the democratic procedure. This is how you will be writing. Now let us try and find out that in this question there are many different types of short notes covered. So while reading your textbook, please pay attention to the book back exercises that are there. 2 hours, 40 marks. What should be the time management? Let us find out. For question 1, there are 6 marks. The time expected to be spent is 10 minutes you spend. Actually, for 6 marks, even 10 minutes is quite a lot. But yes, at ease you write without any tension. This being the first question, you should not scratch. Otherwise, it is said, Prathamagrase makshika pataha. And first impression is always the last impression. So your first page should be the best, isn't it? So take 10 minutes to solve this question. Now, second question, marks 4. But since it is brief answer question, you can devote 10 minutes for this second question. Question 3 is of 4 marks, but it is give reason. You have to skim and scan, collect the material, logically sequence it in your mind and then start writing. So take 15 minutes to solve. Question 4 is a short note carrying 6 marks. You have to write 2 short notes. So again, you can devote 15 full minutes for solving this question. Question 5 has 8 marks and it is one of the desert answers. A complete U is seen through this answer. So devote 20 full minutes for writing this answer. So children, we are out of 28 marks worth history part. Now let's go to question number 6. Question number 6 is of 3 marks and we have 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes because there is only one word to be written. In question 1AB, you have to draw a box and name the columns and also choose the correct alternative. For all these, we devoted more time. Well, here it is just a gap. So we can finish up this answer in 5 minutes. Question 7 is one-line answer. Since you have to select correct words and terms, 10 minutes can be devoted. And I would request you to solve at least one extra answer over there, so that if one answer goes wrong, your marks are not disturbed. You get 3 on 3 in this answer. Question number 8 has 4 marks and you can devote 10 marks because it is true or false and you are writing reasons. So very systematically, with a cool, stable mind, you write your answers. Question 9 is 2 marks. You can devote 5 full minutes because the subject to be written is only 1 and that's why 5 minutes are more than sufficient. Now children, drawing lines, checking whether all questions are written or not, underlining, checking spellings, correcting them, all will take about 20 minutes. So thus you finish total 2 hours time. Now children, I would like to give you certain general tips. Bravo, you have solved complete 40 marks question paper. I have certain general tips for you. Solve the question paper serially. Start from question 1 till question 9. Give proper sub-question numbers even though your brief answer is first. But in the question paper, if the number given is 2, you have to write number 2 and not 1. Attempt all necessary questions first. Either leave space for extra questions to be solved immediately on the same page or write a footnote to inform the examiner about the extra questions that you are going to attempt. Start a new question on a fresh page, but the sub-question should be started on the same page. For example, question 1A and 1B, please do not separate these sub-questions. Write them successively. It means on question 1A, if you are starting page 3, then let question 1B be completed on page 4. Don't carry it to page number 13 or 14 or something like that, because it becomes easy for the examiner to add your marks and take them to the front page. Help the examiner out. Then question number 6 also, as well as question 1A. Remember to underline the gap. Many a times in a hurry, we forget to underline the gap. So please try to remember to underline the gaps. Another thing that I would like to say is drawing a box. In a hurry, we forget. But please try and draw a box and give the column numbers. Read the course book at least 10 times before you go for your board exam. Collect other school papers. Why? Because when you collect other school papers, you will find out how the questions can be formed in a different manner. Solve only the questions that you think you do not know or you need help from your teacher. Whichever questions you know well, please do not solve, so that the boredom of solving same questions can be overcome. Write such questions by looking into the course book, the difficult one, and discuss them with your respected history, political science teachers so that they can make additions or they can suggest certain vital points. Ready-made printed answers can bring you 35 on 40. But if your aim is 40 on 40, prepare your own notebook that will help you like a guide, because your handwriting is the best guide. And you know, all good performances start with a clear goal. So keep a clear goal in front of you of 40 on 40 in front of you. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Those who are very tough, they surely are on their run. Success is not forever. At the same time, failure is not at all fatal. If you have failed to get 40 on 40 in unit test or in term end 1 or prelim 1 or prelim 2, doesn't matter. Failure is the stepping stone to success. So don't care. But yes, definitely try to work on your weak areas, the gray areas. Try and find out where you need an improvement from your respected teachers. They are the best resources for you, and the textbook. When you stop learning, you stop growing. So keep constantly learning from your own writings. Then only you can definitely improve. So my dear friends, let me wish you best of luck, best of studies, best of writing practice, and the best of your performance. Thank you.